We out here. Here. Happy August 4th. Good afternoon. Hopefully you guys are vibing after that NBA lock. Not a whole lot of crazy things that locked. Just a couple of, I don't know, I guess Robin Lopez starting over Brook wasn't expected, stuff like that. But anyway, we have some baseball to break down. I'm kind of trying to figure out a couple things. I'm getting conflicting reports on Patrick Corbin versus Max Scherzer starting for the Nats, but it looks like it's going to be Corbin. So we're going to go ahead and stick with Corbin, the old poster boy, and we'll just break it down as is. So let's get it underway. I'm Gun, twitter.com/GundackerSports. If you guys are new to the channel, what you see on the screen is RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. And here to let you know, if you guys are looking to take your DFS game to the next level, you should definitely consider joining the squad over at RunDFS.com. Get yourself a VIP pass, unlock those patented spreadsheets, unlock that 24/7 premium Discord. We'll talk a little bit more about all that later on, but let's go ahead and get jumping into this slate because I'm trying to get this out of the way. Game number 1 tonight, New York Mets at the Washington Nationals. We got what looks to be a battle of two southpaws. Steven Matz up against Patrick Corbin. Steven Matz is 0-1 with a 3.18 ERA on the season, just like rotation mate Jacob deGrom. Steven Matz has featured some of the hardest velocity of his career so far this season. He credits it to the work he did at home in Nashville during the quarantine. If you play on DraftKings and FanDuel and you've opened up their contest, you've seen one site list Max Scherzer, one site list Patrick Corbin. A beat writer on Twitter reported that it would be Corbin on Tuesday, and I'm just going to go with that. So we're going to assume Patrick Corbin's the starter here, and Corbin, of course, 10.4K on DraftKings, 10.8 on FanDuel. Certainly somebody with strikeout propensity and potential to come out here and be a great play, one of the lower xFIPs and Sierras overall in the slate. If you pull up that pitcher metric chart in the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet, go look at last year's Sierra. Let's see, where's Patrick Corbin, 3.88. We got a lot of sub 4s today, and we've had some slates lately with a lot of over 4s, so I am at least happy with that. So if we do get Corbin starting, he's certainly going to be an option for me. He did have a couple of home run leagues last year to righties, a 1.21 home run per 9. So maybe a guy like a Peter Alonso or J.D. Davis sneak in there as a one-off punt. But I think more often than not, I'm going to be looking to play some Corbin today. No Steven Matz for me yet. The fact that he is throwing a higher velocity and maybe growing as a pitcher is encouraging, but I still don't trust him, and I've been the type to pick on him in spots the last couple of years. We'll go look at his batted ball data from the first 2 games. He had a 5.38 xFIP against Boston, and then just a 2.69 against Atlanta in the first game. But the hard contact rate, 37%, it went up against Boston, so it's going in the wrong direction. He is keeping the ball on the ground a little bit more. So I'm not here to completely change my opinion of Steven Matz just yet. Last year, 1.5 home run per 9 to righties. The year prior, 1.6. So far this season, he has allowed 3 homers to righties. So that trend seems to be continuing. Against that, I love some shots at maybe Howie Kendrick. Maybe a Victor Robles. We saw some surprising games out of him in the Yankee series. This Nats team's coming off extended rest, enough rest that Juan Soto is able to rejoin the lineup, and he's a guy that's been able to hit both sides of the plate. And then, of course, behind Steven Matz is one of the shakiest bullpens in all of baseball. So I don't mind loading up on a couple Nats bats here. Implied run total 4.7, kind of low, but a great spot to go out there and grab Juan Soto, even Asdrubal Cabrera, a really plus switch hitter. So a couple of bats I like from this game, but Patrick Corbin's going to be one of the linchpins in my pitching player pool should he be the true starter, and that's apparently to be determined. We'll see. But the Nats beat writer kind of suggested that it is Corbin. Moving on to the next game here, Braves hosting the Blue Jays. We got Matt Shoemaker up against Max Fried. Shoemaker coming into this game. It is Shoemaker, right? Like I don't even, MLB.com doesn't even have that. Anyway, Max Fried's 1-0 with a 2.31 ERA. Fried's always had an impressive curveball and the ability to generate good life with his fastball, but his most impressive pitch during his first 2 starts has been a sharp slider. He faced the Rays in Thursday's win and was able to see just the minimum through the first 5 innings. So Fried was somebody that I did like the metrics in his swing and strike rate. I love that his walk rate was down last season, and his ground ball is much higher than his fly ball. ERA was higher than his xFIP and Sierra, so we saw a potential opportunity for positive regression, and thus far that has stayed true. The Rays come into this game with this projected lineup having a lot of high strikeout rates against lefties, so Max Fried at 8.5 on both sides, certainly somebody that I would be interested in early as a mid-tier guy to kind of give me that window that I like for core slates, that 15 to 25 window, maybe 16 to 22 in cash games, right? 28 and 14 in his last 2 games, including a game against Tampa where he struck out 7. And I love high strikeout pitchers with high ground ball rates. So Fried at 8,500, certainly in the mix for me. I probably won't be there on Matt Shoemaker, but I also want to for sure know that Shoemaker is a starter. Looks like he is. Blue Jays implied run total just 3.7. If Shoemaker is a starter, he historically has had some home run problems against righties. There's not but 30 innings of sample size the last 2 seasons to be overly invested in his lack of home run per 9 or his lower home run per 9. So we're going to look at his first 2 games. First of all, we'll check out the splits from this season. No homers allowed just yet, just 7 innings of sample size. And then we'll go look at the early game log. So we would go to game log, batted ball data. 4.49 xFIP with a 50% hard contact rate against Tampa, and the fly ball rate was at 37.5. So he kept the ball on the ground, but that's a high hard contact rate. Just a 1-game sample size, but because of that, there's really no reason for me to go out of my way on this slate to choose to pitch him against the Atlanta Braves. Although the Braves have shown some strikeout tendencies in this young season, I think the Braves are a stackable team just about any slate. Acuna, Albies, Freeman, Ozuna, Dansby Swanson's been off to an extremely hot start, and we've seen some big games out of Travis d'Arnaud this week. So give me some Fried and probably a couple of Braves bats as stackable, but more so one-offs. That Blue Jays pin's probably nothing too crazy, right? Blue Jays are another team that are coming off of a little bit of rest here. They're fully rested bullpen, but I'm trying to see anybody that I'm really fearful of. AJ Cole would be somebody that probably comes in a close game. Maybe Anthony K. Yeah. All right. Give me some Fried there. Let's move on to the next game. Brewers hosting the White Sox. Lucas Giolito up against Brandon Woodruff. Man, 2 of the game's up-and-coming stud pitchers. Lucas Giolito 0-1 with a 6.52 ERA. The staff ace provided the bounce-back effort needed for the entire rotation, throwing 6... he threw 6 innings in his last appearance. I lost it again. Ugh. I have this new mouse, and there's like a back button on it. He threw 6 shutout innings in a 4-0 victory over the Indians. Giolito worked primarily with his four-seam fastball and changeup in the win. He'll be up against Brandon Woodruff, 1-1 with a 1.59 ERA. Woodruff's going to be on an extra day of rest after dealing 6 1/3 stellar innings in Pittsburgh. In a dominant outing, Woodruff struck out 9, and the only hit was a dribbler in front of home plate. So the White Sox were one of my favorite stacks yesterday. Came through in burst, but the matchup gets much tougher than Brett Anderson and Brandon Woodruff, and at 8,300, certainly a back pocket play for me on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, he's even in the mix as well. High K stuff, high swing and strike rate, and very, very positive xFIPs, and a very high ground ball rate. So he's definitely somebody in the conversation. And then Giolito is kind of a fringe here, but coming into the season with a 3.66 xFIP, a 3.57 Sierra, I'm more than willing to have some shares of Giolito, because I think this is one of those spots where I'll have both pitchers, and then whoever wins, right? Brewers are a slight favorite right now, minus 131. With implied run total 4.3. White Sox have a 3.8 implied run total, so not a whole lot of runs to be had from a Vegas total standpoint. But the talent, at least on the White Sox, has been more consistent, and I do like Lewis Roberts been crushing it. Moncada hit a bomb last night. Abreu went to dead center last night. So there has been a nice stretch of positive runs here for the White Sox. And at a 3.8 run total, I'd be very curious in betting the over, looking for them to get 4 and maybe getting to the bullpen. Brandon Woodruff has had a home run bug against lefties, a 1.33 home run per 9 last season. 2 lefties, so Moncada showed some power last night with a bomb. He might be somebody that we target to chase a bomb there. And then Giolito has a little bit of a home run bug to righties last season, over a 1.3 to both sides of the plate. Maybe a Keston Hiura or somebody like that, but no one's going to tickle you and give you some warm and fuzzies, because the Brewers have been off to a little bit of a rough start. But both pitchers definitely in the mix for me. Because it is a super positive park for hitters, maybe taper my expectations and give them that little breath hold of doubt. But Woodruff at 8,300, the opportunity cost is pretty low for a guy who could probably get 16 on a bad start, right? So I definitely don't mind both pitchers. I love slates that have just like really solid, decent pitching, and so far that is the case, right? Let's move on to the next game here. Chicago Cubs hosting the Kansas City Royals. We've got Kyle Hendricks taking on Brady Singer. Yesterday, by the way, we played Danny Duffy of the Royals. He's one of my higher-owned pitchers, and he came through. So shout out to Danny Duffy. Today, Brady Singer 0-0 with a 3.6 ERA. He's going to make his third start for the Royals after 2 solid starts in his first year with Kansas City. Singer has gone 5 innings in each of his first 2 starts, giving up 2 runs each time. Kyle Hendricks 1-1 with a 4.05 ERA. He followed his opening day shutout with a tough outing in Cincinnati. Over 4 1/3 innings, the righty was charged with 6 runs on 7 hits, ending with 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. So I've been a proponent of being very hesitant to play Kyle Hendricks in the last couple seasons, but that's because I fear his lack of velocity, right? But because of that, he does induce a lot of ground balls and a lot of soft contact outs. In that first outing, he was getting a lot of strikeouts, but in the last outing, it kind of seemed like that was the range of outcome that I've been trying to avoid this whole time. So no Hendricks for me. I never pitch him, but he's also a hard guy to go out there and pick on. I do like a couple contact hit for average guys like Whit Merrifield to get on base against him and then maybe steal a couple bags. Hitting for power, though, you don't really generate a lot of power against Hendricks because he doesn't throw with a lot of velocity. And then on the Cubs side, I guess Bryant got on the board last night. Maybe he'd be somebody to consider. We go look at how Brady Singer's profiled so far in the big leagues in terms of his splits. Looks like 5 and 4. Not a whole lot of sample size, but 2 homers to righties. I guess we'll spend a minute to go pull up his minor league numbers, just kind of see if that's a consistent trend from what he was doing down south. Brady Singer. Using MILB.com, pulling up his player card there. We're going to go to splits, 2019 season. And versus righties in the minors, 5 homers and 46. So it does kind of translate to what he's doing now. 3 homers and 44 innings. So more power to righties. Lower average to righties. and a whip right about 1. So he's a strike thrower and getting just under a strikeout per inning. So Singer on a different slate might be somebody I put in the pool just to have. Well, 6,900, still kind of cheap, and 64 on FanDuel. So this is a guy that, a lot of ground balls. Let me see what the wind is. I like Duffy a little bit more yesterday because the wind was blowing in. It was like wind's blowing in again, 9 miles an hour. The Cubs are big time favorites. Minus 191 favorite. Implied run total 4.7. Royals just at 3.4. Again, those team totals at 3 for baseball. I usually dabble with the over, and I'd probably do that again here and see if they can nickel and dime Kyle Hendricks for some runs and get into that bullpen. Craig Kimbrell has not been a lockdown guy, so I'd probably put a little bit of value in a bet like that. What up, chat? I know, live viewership's gonna be really down, but shout out to Eric Johnson. What up, Danny? Love you. Kate Johnson, we in here, yes sir. Just trying to come up with a couple plays before. Hopefully, I'll get an afternoon shower and some lunch, and then we'll really crank up lineup construction in the VIP while we sweat some basketball. Man, basketball is back. Ran 150 lineups in the NBA 100K to first on FanDuel. So definitely glancing at my phone throughout this stream. Let's move on to the next game here. Coors Field, Rockies hosting the Giants. Last night, Coors Field was as advertised. Today, we got Kevin Gausman taking on German Marquez. Gausman was just announced to start a little while ago. Certainly not somebody that we're going to be considering to pitch anyway. German Marquez pitching for the Royals. 1-1 on the season with a 1.54 ERA. He's pitched superbly in his first 2 starts. He'll be starting on 5 days rest. Bud Black gave the extra day because games have been tight. Certainly a high caliber pitcher, Marquez, on the road. At home last year, he had a 3.3 xFIP, was still striking out 1-4, but the average allowed in the home run per 9 was up there just simply because it's Coors Field. So it's hard to really get behind any pitcher pitching in Coors, especially on a slate like this slate that offers so many viable options. So I'm probably not going to get behind playing Marquez today, but it does make you feel a little bit more leery of playing Giants with confidence. But Marquez last season did have a 1.6 home run per 9 to lefties. Mike Yastrzemski led off yesterday, had himself a bomb. He's 3,800 on FanDuel, almost 6K on DraftKings. Again, certainly another spot where you're paying for talent in a great opportunity, a great ballpark. So I don't mind looking his way. Alex Dixon also got into one yesterday. Really just the top 2 guys from the Giants I like the most. And then on the Rocky side, they're all in play. Arenado got one yesterday. Trevor Story did not, but he's due. David Dahl leading off. So Rockies and the Giants will trend as popular stacks, but the Rockies have an implied run total of 6.7, and that's almost 2 runs higher than the Giants. So they're pretty positive favorites here at minus 179. And they would probably be my favorite full team stack over the Giants here today. But I really do like 1 and 2. Of the Giants lineup. Let's move on to the next game here. Athletics hosting the Rangers. We got Lance Lynn going against opener Jesus Luzardo for the A's here. Lance Lynn 1-0 on the season. He is not allowed a run in over 12 innings in his first 2 starts. He allowed 1 hit and 2 walks versus the Diamondbacks on Wednesday. He made 17 starts on the road last season, and he was 6-10 with a 3.84 ERA. Luzardo 0-0 with a 1.35 ERA after making 2 relief appearances to begin the season. Luzardo, the number 1 prospect for the A's, will be making his first major league start. Obviously, Luzardo's not somebody that we can profile as a deep pitcher here, although he did throw 67 pitches against the Rockies, so maybe he does have 75 in the tank. But at 7,600, dude, wow, he was 9,200. Poor K. So maybe he has 75 pitches in the tank, and at 7,600, maybe that's not the craziest thing for a strikeout guy. No level of confidence, but maybe that's not insane, especially on FanDuel 6,100. Get you some Rocky stacks. but it still seems like a little bit of a glass ceiling pitch cap wise. Lance Lynn looks nice. I don't love the price here. 10K on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel. But this guy's been coming into the season with high strikeout rates against righties the last 2 seasons, and he's facing an extremely righty-prone lineup. I have Olsen and Tony Kemp as 2 of the only projected lefties here. I think they have Robbie Grossman. Maybe he makes the mix there, but I think he's more of a switch hitter that is better against lefties. So this is a positive matchup. This kind of reminds me of Dylan Bundy's start against the Athletics, right? We pick on his pluses and his splits, and Lance Lynn has a really plus matchup split-wise, so I might be a buyer in some Lance Lynn and feel like I'm overpaying. But does he have 30-point potential? Yeah, you've seen it just about in his first 2 games. 32 against the Rockies, 28 against the Diamondbacks. So a little bit of a diamond in a rough, and he's threw 100 pitches plus in both of those first 2 starts. So he might be worth the price of admission. So absolutely give me a little bit of Lance Lynn here. And I probably am just going to back off on Luzardo for now until I feel like it's a priority, right? Until we feel like we have to get there, you know? What do you guys got here? Got to throw Trump in here. Trump 2020. He did last night, right? What up, Justin Sports? How we making money tonight, bro? Man, we're just stacking, man. 150, stack every team. That's easy. That's how we do it. What up, Earth to Air? I'm locking Lynn tonight. It's a super plus matchup for Lynn. And the Athletics offense did kind of wake up last night, but it's super plus matchup here for Lance Lynn if this is the starting lineup, right? Let's move on to the next game here. Padres hosting the Dodgers. Dustin May versus Dinelson Lamet. Again, 2 young pitchers with a bright future, man. This is like such a different slate than so many of the recent slates we've had to live through. Dustin May, 0-0 with a 2.35 ERA. He's the organization's top pitching prospect, and they're going to go from Clayton Kershaw's replacement in the rotation to Alex Wood's replacement, right? So May's filling in for Kershaw, now he's filling in for Alex Wood. He's got the stuff, no doubt, but the Dodgers are hoping for better than a 1.56 whip after 2 starts. Dinelson Lamet for the Padres here, 1-0 with a 1.8 ERA. He's averaging 1.5 strikeout per inning and has yet to allow a home run. Control remains Lamet's top question mark, but even that is mitigated slightly by the fact that he's now regularly hitting 98 to 99 miles per hour. So I love this Padres future, man. They have some hitters. They have a really nice mix of today's stars, some veterans, and future stars, right? Tatis, Trent Grisham's been surprising. And then we got high war guys from like Machado and Tommy Pham. We got some veteran guys like Eric Hosmer, pitching staff showing Dinelson Lamet, Chris Paddock. I mean, this team has some pieces to kind of curtain call the Dodgers once this Dodgers run kind of ends, you know. Lamet, 8,400 on FanDuel, 95 on DraftKings. I respect his stuff, and I definitely on a different slate would probably be there on playing him. But the Dodgers are still the Dodgers, right? Heavy-hitting powerhouse team. So it's hard to have a high level of confidence behind it. Maybe a shorter slate, we dabble with him a little bit more. Home run bug, you might expect it to regress and come back, especially against a team like the Dodgers. So because of the pitching matchup, maybe not projecting overly well for the Dodgers, who have just an implanted run total of 4.3. Maybe that makes them a fun contrarian stack in tournaments because they do have the talent and the ability to just pop off at any point. Bellinger and Jock Peterson got on the board last night. Maybe look for Mookie Betts to continue to be out, but Max Muncy in the mix, Justin Turner, guys like that. It's still a plus offense. So it could be a low-owned tournament stack in 150 that I would grab some shares of. And then Dustin May, 7.5 on DraftKings, 5.9 on FanDuel. 5.9 is very cheap for a favorited team and a guy with the talent of Dustin May. Now, I love stacking Padres. They've been one of my favorite teams to go after. But Dustin May does have some decent stuff. Through 76 against Houston. Houston, another tough matchup. Could we stretch that to 85-90? He does have strikeout potential. So I don't think he's the craziest shot in the dark on FanDuel to kind of give you that full Rocky stack and maybe another offense you might be behind. And he does have strikeout potential, which we haven't seen just yet. Like, we haven't seen him put it all together yet this season. But I think it's there, and the Padres do have potential to strike out. Just Machado and Jurickson Profar in this projected lineup have a sub 20% K rate. So you can certainly see the stars align for a decent day for May at that price point. On that same token, just like I don't mind taking gambles on the Dodgers talent. I don't mind taking some gambles on the Padres talent. Tatis, Grisham, Machado, Pham. Love that 1 through 4. I certainly would have them sprayed in my 150s as at least one-offs, if nothing else. But on the surface here, Vegas is not giving us much to get giddy about, but that's fine. Let's move on to the next game here. Astros at the Diamondbacks. Christian Javier taking on Madison Bumgarner. Interesting matchup we have here. Javier is the Astros' number 6 ranked prospect by MLB Pipeline. He held the Dodgers to just 1 run and 2 hits while striking out 8 in his first big league start last Wednesday. That came 4 days after his debut. 1 scoreless inning against the Seattle Mariners. Madison Bumgarner 0-1 on the season with a 4.09 ERA. He did not pitch poorly last time against the Rangers, but he was not happy with his fastball velocity. His four-seamer averaged about 87.9 miles per hour, which it also did for his opening day start. That's the lowest mark of his career. Not what you want if you're Madison Bumgarner, being one of the league leaders in hard contact rate over the last 2 to 3 seasons, and now your velocity is going down even more, so a little bit harder to miss some bats. And this is a dangerous Astros team against lefties with George Springer, Altuve, Bregman, guys like Yuli Gurriel. A lot of pop in there, so if you're going to be struggling even more to miss some bats or dealing with that hard contact rate, Madison Bumgarner could be on a sharp decline, but we'll see. Kind of trust him to maybe get right. That veteran could reinvent himself, maybe pick up a sharper cutter or something like that. Let's go look at his plate discipline game log so far. Just a 7% swinging strike rate against the Padres, 9% against the Rangers. So more so pitching to contact right there. And then, like I said, that fastball velocity down. He's only throwing it 39% of the time, 34% on the slider, and 23% on the curveball. So not a velo guy. And lastly, we'll check out the splits, the hard contact rate thus far this season to righties. By the way, a 6.3 xFIP to righties. But hard contact's at 50%. So everything's trending in the wrong direction, but he's been kind of on this trajectory for the last couple seasons. So Astros look really fun, and I think even though their run total's at 5.1, I think you could see a case where like the casual player respects the name Madison Bumgarner and maybe don't stack against them. But on paper, this is profiling like a super plus matchup for the Astros. So I absolutely will introduce the Astros as one of my favorite stacks tonight against a spiraling Madison Bumgarner. Christian Javier. Let's check him out, right? 65 on DraftKings through 82 pitches in that last appearance. So could 95 to 100 be a range of outcome? I think it absolutely could. And then let's go look at that swinging strike rate against the Dodgers. Remember, Dodgers ain't no slouches, right? And they're certainly would consider to be better than the Diamondbacks. So let's go look at his game log plate discipline against that Dodgers team. Game log plate discipline. He had a 12.5% swinging strike rate against Seattle, 11% against the Dodgers. Was getting a first pitch strike rate over 50% against the Dodgers, 75% against the Seattle. Seattle was just a one inning thing. Zone contact was at 88%. Looks like he has strikeout potential. Let's see if we can quantify that a little bit, looking at his minor league numbers. I think I said last time that I would take some shots on Javier, but I wasn't sure of his pitch count. because he had only pitched 1 inning, and then I definitely just don't like pitching against the Dodgers, but I can make an exception here against the D-backs for sure. So in the minors last season, not enough sample size there, Double-A maybe. 37 innings against lefties, 52 strikeouts, 36 innings against righties, 62 strikeouts. Insane numbers in Double-A last season. So I definitely could see myself 65 on DK. I could see Christian Javier being an SP2 for me because I trust or I like the Astros to beat up on Mad Bum, and definitely looks like some strikeouts in and of himself. Now, the D-backs have some low K rates in Ketel Marte, Eldemaro Vargas, Starling Marte, but this guy looks like he's not normal when it comes to getting those strikeouts. And then there's enough baked in there in the middle of the lineup to where Javier at 6,500 really just needs to get me a strikeout per inning and go 5, maybe 6 if we're lucky. So I do like Javier here on DraftKings. It'll probably be my preferred SP2. I think you can make some fun Lance Lynn, Javier lineups. No Mad Bum for me, and Astros will be one of my more sought-after stacks, right? What up, ACP? Said Javier was making my Dodgers miss. Probably take a chance on him. Yeah, same here. He'll probably be a little bit trendy, too, for being honest. Main event tonight. By the way, did I miss a game? Is that Orioles-Marlin game on the slate? I think it is. I don't think I didn't see it. I didn't see it last night to put it on the spreadsheet. So I'll have to add that in, and we can chop it up if you guys want. But first, let's talk about this this Mariners and Angels game, main event of the slate. Andrew Heaney taking on Justin Dunn. We'll type in Andrew Heaney. I didn't have him as the confirmed starter last night. We have an implied run total for the Angels, 5.3. The Mariners, 3.8. Angels are almost a minus 200 favorite. Mike Trout, probable. And then we'll see if they opt to let Shohei Ohtani hit. Looks like he's done pitching with that arm injury. Heaney, 2.79 ERA on the season. He was the opening day starter, and he's looking for his first win. He faced the Mariners last time out, striking out 6 and allowing 2 runs in 5+ innings in an outing that saw his fastball drop from about 91 to 92 miles per hour to 88, 89 in the 6th. So we're going to see if that arm strength can last a little bit longer. Justin Dunn pitching for the Mariners here. He was sharp for 3 innings before giving up a 3-run homer to Shohei Ohtani in the 4th. In his first outing last Wednesday. He's a 24-year-old rookie, and this is his second appearance against the Angels, this time at T-Mobile Park. Probably no Dunn for me. Heaney is definitely in the conversation. His xFIP and Sierra were lower than his ERA last season, so I already like that to be trending positively. His swinging strike rate exceeded 14% last season in a 95-inning sample size. And it's the Mariners team that I definitely like to target for strikeouts. I can change this to lefty, though, since Heaney's a lefty. We have Crawford, Kyle Lewis, Seager. For strikeouts, we have Crawford, Lewis, Seager, Vogelbach. We got a lot of 20% K rates here, so if you don't need a whole lot from Heaney, AK at DraftKings definitely qualifies as a guy that can give me 16 to 20 plus. And on FanDuel, the same song and dance. Getting Mike Trout back. If you guys didn't know, Mike Trout missed a couple games because he had a baby. And Mike Trout's been king narrative over the years, right? Mother's Day, birthdays, all kinds of stuff. And he's still Mike Trout. He's 6.2K. But maybe he goes out there and gets himself a baby game home run performance or something like that, right? Have some fun with that. So if him, Rendon, Upton are in the lineup, I'm holding my breath on Shohei Ohtani being a hitter still, but Ohtani was injured last year pitching-wise and still DH, so maybe they come up with something where they still trust Ohtani to swing the bat, because so far this season he's been crushing the baseball, right? Yeah, that's the main event there. All right, so let's put the Orioles game in the spreadsheet here. So bear with me just a moment. Both of these teams have had a couple days off, especially the Marlins are almost a pick'em. Excuse me. Okay, sure. The Marlins have been the center of some controversial COVID-19, like the whole organization basically coming down with COVID. Not the whole, but half. So we'll type them all in the sheet here. But they are well rested. And if you guys were looking to play Pablo Lopez when he was scheduled to be a starter in his last outing, maybe you look at him today. And then the Orioles have just been super scrappy, right? Killing a lot of good pitchers. A lot of people are looking at the Orioles as that team to punt pitching against, and it just hasn't been a successful strategy this season. And they've also they're just never a high-owned stack because they're the Baltimore Orioles. So maybe you can get a little bit creative with your lineups today. Get some Orioles in your lineup. Guys like Hanser Alberto, Rio Ruiz, even Santander's had some surprising starts here. John Means pitching for the Orioles. Pablo Lopez for the Marlins. We have Means with a 19.29 ERA this season. He finished second in AL Rookie of the Year award race last season. He's going to look to rebound after allowing 5 runs over 2 1/3 against the Yankees in his 2020 debut, which came on the heels of an IL stint due to arm fatigue. Pablo Lopez enjoyed a strong spring training and summer camp, but he was in quarantine for about a week as the club dealt with the coronavirus. He has a 7.36 ERA on the road last year. Not much for me to get behind considering either pitcher. Pablo did have extreme home run problems last season. The lefties, a 1.56 home run per 9, 300 plus average allowed with a near 5 xFIP. So that aforementioned Rio Ruiz could profile well. Anthony Santander, all guys I definitely don't mind grabbing. And Lopez had a low swinging strike rate and just an 18% K rate to lefties as well. John Means. His biggest bugaboo has been righties, a 1.5 home run per 9 last year to righties, and we saw against the Yankees he was struggling as well. Any power righties from the Marlins you take a shot on? Maybe Jesus Aguilar, historically a little bit of pop, 460 slugging against lefties in the last 2 years. John Bertie, small sample on that. But hard to get up and get too excited for many of the bats in this game. Both teams an implied run total under 5, but I definitely think there's some one-offs. We're chasing some homers here in a hitter-friendly Camden Yards park. So I'll certainly have a couple of these guys one-off as some home run shots in the dark. But no pitchers for me here, and probably no stacking. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles came through again, you know. But that's it. That's our slate here. Don't even waste your time on that game. Bro, can you play Ohtani on FanDuel in the pitcher spot and get bet? No. It won't work like that. Just saw the Soroka news. Yeah, man, Soroka popped his Achilles yesterday. Going to be done for a while. The Atlanta Braves are not having a good time with pitching right now. I think they sent down. I think they had Chris Russin get. Was that Chris Russin? He got sent down, and they DFA'd Fultonevich. They're losing Soroka. They just can't seem to get it. And they have a really good offense. And they did come up with some team-friendly contracts on Albies and Ronald Acuna. So maybe they can work the bank and work free agency in the offseason to come up with a couple of options at the front end of their pitching rotation to make that team more viable and more competitive. Because I definitely think they have the offensive talent to get there. What up, TJ? Santander's the GOAT. I'm there. Hey, if you guys want access to this spreadsheet for your daily research, it is a perk of having a premium subscription at RunDFS.com. If you guys go to RunDFS.com, get signed up, make an account, go to VIP passes, find the pass right for you. There's a week pass, 2-week pass, month pass, and you get locked in for the rest of the year. It's going to unlock access to the spreadsheets, and it's not just for baseball. You can get it for basketball. You can get it for NFL in a month. And you get that 24/7 VIP Discord. I talked about it on the NBA stream earlier, but there were so many screenshots in Discord last night where everyone was going off, all different bankroll levels, but everyone was popping last night, and it was a good day for the crew. So if you guys want to join a community of like-minded individuals grinding all day, keeping their ear to the ground, multiple voice chats per day. We had a successful 2-hour NBA voice chat. We'll have another one here in a bit for baseball. I definitely encourage you guys to come test it out, come try it out, try a week pass, and just come say hello. And I can't remember too many people that got a week pass and didn't come back for more. It's just that good of a community. So come check it out. If you have any questions about that, twitter.com/GundackerSports. DMs are open. I'd be glad to field any questions you might have. Hopefully we get a little bit more clarity going forward in the next hour or so about some of these for sure pitching options. Remember, there's a little bit of a gray cloud over whether it's Max or Corbin, but it looks like it is Corbin. And then a couple of these other pitchers are just now becoming confirmed. So looks like generally a quiet night weather-wise for the main slate, and a lot of good pitching. So hopefully it'll be a lower scoring slate other than Coors, right? And hopefully make some money. Hopefully have some fun. I am going to try and get some lunch and a afternoon shower, but I will be back in the Discord voice chat in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, so you guys can join in for that. Grab a mic, listen, and join the conversation, or just listen in. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Twitter. I love each and every one of you. Good luck.